So about a week ago, I made a poll on my channel for you guys to help me decide which game I should play and review next. Dark Souls 3 absolutely crushed all of its competitors, which brings me to the conclusion that you guys are evil and enjoy seeing me in pain. If you've been living under a rock and don't know about the Dark Souls series by now, basically all you gotta know is that it's considered to be one of the hardest games of all time. It's probably important to mention that I've never played a Souls game before this. I did play Sekiro earlier this year, which is also developed by From Software and also incredibly difficult, but other than that, there was no way for me to prepare for the culture shock that was Dark Souls 3. Anyways, 50 painful yet rewarding hours later, and I actually beat it. I'm not exaggerating when I say there were multiple times I had zero faith I'd finish. But I did, and honestly, I'm pretty proud of myself. But before all that, let's start at the very beginning. So again, for those of you who don't know about Dark Souls already, let me give you a quick rundown. The main idea is to make your way through a giant map fighting really annoying enemies to find even more frustrating boss battles, all the while upgrading yourself to tackle stronger enemies as you progress. And it pretty much continues on like that for the whole game. You can find these campfires that act as sort of checkpoints, but the catch is that every time you die, you lose all of your upgrading experience and have to return to the campfires. And you will be dying a lot. In fact, I probably spent more time retracing my steps after dying than actually fighting enemies. Dark Souls 3 has a sort of cycle to it, where you travel a bit further than you did before, get nervous because you don't want to lose all your progress, then die and try to get a bit further than last time. Surprisingly, this cycle never gets old when playing Dark Souls. Not only does it feel extremely rewarding to defeat an enemy you've been trying to get past for hours, but there are so many branching paths filled with secrets and helpful items that no attempt feels the same. There are also hundreds of different enemy types in the world, each with their own unique attack patterns. There's this dude who hangs off the ceiling and jumps down when you're passing by, or this stupid annoying dumb witch lady who kills you in like 2 hits and is also in every single section of the game because she doesn't know how to take a hint that nobody likes her. Sorry, I've got some pent up anger. The point is, there are so many different enemies in Dark Souls 3, and the only way to learn how to beat them is by trial and error. I later figured out that it's way better to play defensively when approaching a new enemy. That way you can discover their weaknesses and different openings. But I was also very surprised by just how important confidence is in Dark Souls. There is no room for hesitation. If you see an opening, you just have to take it. If you have to wait a split second longer to consider why your spider sense is tingling, you're done, you're already dead. There were so many times where I would enter a boss battle and then change my mind because I was like, nah, I'm not ready for that. When the truth is, if you can muster the slightest bit of confidence, you got this. I don't know why it sounds like I'm making a motivational speech on how to approach girls, but it's honestly very true when it comes to Dark Souls 3. Same goes for the boss battles, which surprisingly I found much easier than Sekiro. One-on-one battles are great because you don't have that much to focus on other than the boss itself, plus the bosses are a pretty cool change of pace. Sometimes you'll have an epic sword fight with a knight who's just got this monster of a blade, then you'll fight this massive tree guy and his only weak point is his gooey crotch balls. I'm sorry, that's probably the worst sentence I've ever written down, but now you have to hear it too. Anyways, entering a boss fight always feels like a suicide mission because it's overwhelming trying to figure out all of these new attacks and when to dodge and all that. But as long as you've been upgrading as you go and don't get greedy, you'll be totally fine. Speaking of the upgrades, there are tons of different builds you can create. One of my favorite parts of Dark Souls 3 is the fact that you aren't tied to a specific class. Yeah, you do get different bonuses for choosing certain classes at the very beginning, but as long as you don't mind a bit of a grind to get more experience, you can evolve your playstyles as you go. For me, I started out as this knight dude with a sword and shield, but I didn't really like how slow everything felt, so eventually I went for a more rogue build instead. Because there are so many options for building your character in different ways, I could see the replayability of Dark Souls 3 being pretty strong, especially with how many dividing paths there are in the world. And the world itself is pretty sick. Unlike Sekiro, there are no jumping mechanics for exploration, which felt a bit frustrating at first because sometimes there are secret items just out of reach, but it didn't really bother me later on. I will say Dark Souls 3 is not only the ugliest game I've ever played, but it's also one of the prettiest. Some of the areas in this game look like the back alley of my local GameStop, just super dark, drab, and musty. And then you have these absolutely incredible views that just look straight out of an Edvard Munch painting. I realize no one knows what I'm talking about, but he's that one guy that drew that screaming dude painting. Yeah, that guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, character design and monsters look absolutely next level, but everything also looks like crap sometimes. I know everybody's gonna hate me for that, so let's just transition to something else people will hate me for. The Dark Souls 3 story is pretty goofy. I know a lot of Souls fans love the deep lore of this series, but dude, I had no clue what was going on. I mean, yeah, you're a dead guy on a mission to kill 5 bigger dead guys, but other than that, pretty much everything went over my head. I feel like even if the third game is my first Souls game, I should be able to understand a little bit more of what's going on, but no, not really. Maybe I'll go back and play the other Souls games at some point, because other than the story, which didn't really affect my experience that much, Dark Souls 3 was a really great game. It felt really rewarding overcoming these seemingly impossible challenges and finding my confidence, so to speak. And I could honestly see myself having a second playthrough at some point. Maybe even stream it. I don't know, I've never really done something like that. Let me know if that's something you might want to see in the future. Anyways, if you hate yourself and enjoy pain, play Dark Souls 3. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Anyways, make sure to subscribe, boys. The new goal is to hit 10k subscribers by the end of the year. It would be awesome if you could help me get there. Keep gaming to the fullest, guys. Much love, and I'll see you later.